I would have loved to have seen Hillary get locked up. She didn't. She's not going to, guys. It's not going to happen. She'll get her judgment.
What if Trump comes to power and he decides to do the same thing to the people that did? You just never know. This, like I said, this sets a new precedent. It does set a new precedent. This is the first president with a mugshot. So
if it's legitimate and it's not just retaliation, it's something that actually should be thrown in prison for. Yeah, but if it's not, and Trump does it, will it make me feel good? No, I'm not going to feel good because I don't want
I'm just saying this sets a new precedent is all I'm saying.
Do you think
we're living during very interesting times. It's funny, even though I don't agree with him politically on a lot of stuff, when Brad Thor said that whole thing about the Chinese proverb of may you live during interesting times. Like, yeah, we're living during very interesting times. We are. Battleline podcast, guest-free episode, as you can see probably from the title, depending on what platform you're listening to, and whichever platform you're listening to, be sure to subscribe. If you're on Apple Podcasts, hit that plus sign. Leave us a review if you're on Apple Podcasts, because that really helps us in the rankings. We've been falling behind a lot in the rankings, and those reviews would really help us out. So if you haven't done so, just leave us a 5-star review. We've got news to get to, plenty of different stuff we're going to hit on. So before we do, Photonus Defense, we have the most badass night vision sponsor out there. You really got to invest in great night vision if this is something that you want for home defense, for hunting, for any of that. So now you can have the superpower to see in the dark with the Viper Binocular Night Vision System by Photonus Defense. It's the global leader in night vision solutions, providing more high-quality night vision capabilities than anyone. Military, law enforcement, and public safety end users utilize Photonus Defense solutions to give them the edge at night in tactical situations and rescue operations. Hunters, shooters, boaters, and enthusiasts can rely on the Photonus Defense Viper Binocular to become masters of darkness. The new Viper Binocular system carries the same features and benefits as the Photonus Defense Viper Monocular, with a ruggedized body, and harnesses the power of the Echo Intensifier tubes, giving you sharper images, reduced halo, and industry-leading ultra-fast auto-gating across the range of dynamic operating conditions. So if you want to check them out, guys, go to photonusdefense.com. That's PHOTONIS defense.com for more information, or just look for Photonus Defense product options from your night vision dealer. Photonusdefense.com, photonusdefense.com. Check them out. And since day one on board with us is the best ammo out there, Fort Scott Munitions is a manufacturer of multi-federal patented solid copper and brass CNC spun ammunition. It's designed to tumble upon impact in soft tissue, leaving devastating wound channels for faster bleed out and quicker incapacitation. This ammunition was originally developed to innovate and improve on the standard of military-grade ammunition design. It was found that not only did the TUI ammunition outperform competitors in the self-defense industry, but it quickly became apparent that it would be a top contender for hunters alike. With the ammunition being CNC spun, the tolerances are some of the tightest on the market, ensuring that you receive the same results with each pull of the trigger. Go to FSM.com. You can get it from your local ammo store, local gun and ammo dealer, even by me, even on Long Island, New York. You could actually get it by me in South Shore Sportsman. If you go to their dealer locator, you'll see, if you type in your zip code, but you'll get a great discount through us when you use promo code Battleline at FSM.com. So once again, simply FSM.com. Use the exclusive promo code Battleline for 15% off. Fort Scott Munitions is a proud supporter of Kris Paronto, Battleline Tactical, and the Battleline podcast. Once again, FSM.com, promo code Battleline.
From Kansas City to New York City, from planet Earth to extraterrestrial life in space, a podcast with no equal, engaged in unconventional warfare through your speakers and headphones. This is a show about embracing the suck, conquering your demons, and finding God in the face of adversity. Kris, Tanto, Paronto.
Switch is on. Motherfucker, I'm gonna shoot you in the face.
Ian, Scotto.
Ian and I have been dating for a long time.
You are now tuned into the Battleline Podcast.
The Switch is on, Battleline Podcast, and yeah, every couple of months we like doing these Q&A episodes. We have plenty of questions to get to, and I'm psyched for it. So how's everything going, man?
Yeah, has it been a couple months? It seems like we've been. Did we take
Maybe like a month and a half? I don't
like
know.
a longer break? I think there was one where we had like 3 months or maybe 4 months where we didn't do it. That's why it seems like, man, I swear we just did a guest free one just like last week, but yeah, I guess it has been a few months.
Maybe a month. Maybe, yeah, I'd have to look. Maybe a little bit, but
yeah, I'm good.
yeah, man, a lot of news to get to, a lot of questions to get to. You know, I was going to tell you in completely unrelated news. So I saw Smashing Pumpkins last night in Jones Beach, and it made yeah, it made local news though for nothing having to do with the show itself. So Jones Beach, like the venue is like in the middle of the ocean. It's crazy. And which has never been an issue. I mean, it's been there for like 30 years. We've seen concerts there every year. The entire floor completely flooded. Like I was watching during the openers and I'm like, am I seeing this correctly? Because people were like ankle deep in water for the most expensive tickets in the venue. It was wild.
Did they care, or they just it's a concert and they just roll with it because it made it cooler? What happened? I want to know what the people did.
So I'll give you a recap of how this kind of built up. It was weird to me. So the opener was Rival Sons, who were great. They went on like 6:30. They actually had a song about a friend of the singers, I guess, who was an Army Ranger. I thought that was pretty cool.
No way. I don't know.
Because he introduced it and spoke about that.
Cool.
And I mentioned them though because as they're going on, I'm way up at the top. I'm not like a huge Smashing Pumpkins fan. I got like cheap seats with some friends just to hang out. I mean, I like the hits.
Yeah, they rock, dude. That's me in the Army town. That's Ranger. That's the Funky Monkey out at Washington when that radio station was going on. I love Smashing Pumpkins. That's what I grew up with. You know, all that alt rock was that. That's my genre. That's my time. But go ahead. Love Smashing Pumpkins.
Yeah, no, I like the hits. I just meant like I didn't pay crazy amount for great seats or anything. I bought cheap seats up at the top with my friends. So the reason I mention this though is it's a great view. You could see all of Long Beach and Jones Beach and all of that. And I noticed, I'm like, man, these waves are very high. And other people behind me were saying the same thing. And I think it had to do with that South Carolina, I believe there was a hurricane or something like that.
Well, there was one that came through Florida and went up and I guess it already went through and maybe it's going up the coast. Yeah, it's going up the coast right now.
I think that's what it is. So yeah. I think it impacted the wave levels.
It's just tidal surges. Yeah, it impacted the surge.
So I just noticed the waves are getting high, and then the second band goes on, Interpol, and as they're on, I'm like, is it just because it's dark, you know? And I'm like, is it just me? Is there some type of light effect, or are people standing in water? Because I've never seen this before. And sure enough, it just started to rise, and people are ankle deep in water in the middle of a concert. And Interpol was one of those weird bands in that, like, they just went song. Like they didn't stop to talk to the crowd or anything, which I thought was kind of weird to not even acknowledge that like the people up front are like swimming in water right now. I think it's a little strange. When Smashing Pumpkins went on, they were like, what the fuck is going on here? Like, this is the strangest thing we've ever seen. And even Billy Corgan, and I could, agree with what he said. He was like, man, you guys like all the way in the back are usually like, oh, I'm having a fun time, but it'd be cooler if I was up there. He's like, I'm pretty sure you guys back there are like, fuck this. I don't want to deal with this ocean shit. And so, I mean, I think the fans up front had a good time. It seemed to like a lot of it, I guess, got pushed out by the end, but it was still pretty, it wasn't ankle deep, but it was still pretty heavy water. I just think about, man, if it was like my mom there for, I don't know, a James Taylor concert or something, like she wouldn't be having any of that. Like, I feel like Smashing Pumpkins fan, they'll roll with it a little bit.
Yeah.
But it made local news because I just went to go see my boss, Adam, who lives there. And I was like, oh, I went to go see Smashing Pumpkins last night. He's like, yeah, wasn't there like major flooding? So it made news around here. It was weird. It was definitely strange.
Well, that's how Gen Xers are in their concerts. That's how we used to roll back in the day in our concerts. We just flood the floor. I'm kidding. I don't fucking know. but that's
it's the venue because James Iha from Smashing Pumpkins was like, who creates a venue here.
That's still fun. Entertaining. It's amazing that to me that nobody just left. Like, oh fuck this.
I'm sure some people did. I'm sure people who aren't as diehard.
But,
Yeah, I would
that's
think.
still that's cool. I mean, that's still to me that adds to the ambiance of a concert, man. The live music, and you're on a beach, and you're on a beach, dude. This tidal surge comes up. What are you gonna do? Sometimes you're gonna get your ankles wet. I just think, what if it would have kept coming, like a real hurricane?
Yeah.
Bring this, now I'm going down a rabbit hole.
No, but I
that's
just wondered because
cool
the venue was built like 30 years ago, and I would think people far smarter than me built this venue with all of that in mind, and it was never an issue. So you do wonder about like just the rising currents. I don't know, because I never saw this happen before. It was out there.
Perfect storm. Maybe has there been a concert that there was a hurricane that affected it, or if there had a hurricane or a surge coming up, they just said, hell no, we're not doing the concert, which probably the logical thing to do. But I guess nobody would have thought that tidal surge would have pushed, because that was South Carolina. I don't know. I was a flood insurance adjuster. If you watch 13 hours,
that's right. You should know how to do this.
No, I mean, if you've watched 13 hours, when Bob and I got in the argument, and he said, I'd be happy to be an insurance adjuster. That happened, guys. That's fucking.
Well, you still do it sometimes, right?
Yeah, I still I look at files. I don't adjust anymore. You have to be away from home. If to be a field adjuster, get down to the National Flood Insurance Program and FEMA and all that. And I've been a certified insurance adjuster for the government for 30 years, long as I've been contracting, because that's what I used to do when I used to come home to clear my head. I'd go run insurance claims, flood claims. But no, I still work for a company called Admin Strategies. They're awesome insurance adjusting company, but I examine files and do leadership training for them and things like that. But I've been on some of those hurricanes, after some of these big hurricanes and tropical storms, and even, it's funny, I was even working Sandy's claims. I was reviewing Sandy's files when I was in Yemen. So I'd come back from an op, take my shit off, and they would send me files to look at when I was sitting in Sana'a, Yemen, and when Hurricane Sandy hit. But
which is that area.
Yeah, that's it. It is. Yeah, that's exactly right up there. And it can be very destructive. It is scary, man. I've been in some of these areas when a hurricane's going to hit or a storm's going to hit, and that surges, it ain't no joke, man. And then being on the ocean, in the Indian Ocean, but watching a surge and watching water come up, it's freaky. And I mean, when you're watching it, it is kind of freaky, because you're like, holy shit, water's starting to rise. And by the time you realize you need to run, it's too fucking late. That's the thing with tidal surge.
I was all the way at the height of the venue. So I mean, I wasn't in no way that it didn't affect me. It was just crazy to watch. It was actually crazy to watch from that vantage point of all the way up there.
Well, that's what's so fucking cool about water and tidal surges and floods. It is that you're watching it going, man, this is kind of, it's like your reaction was perfect. It's like, it's kind of weird, man. This is kind of, is water getting higher? The scary thing about floods, flash flooding, tidal surges, and luckily it wasn't a major one, but when you're at that point, it's too fucking late. If they were down there and it was a massive tidal surge and they just started to be like, oh, I think we should go, but I'm not sure yet, it's too late. Because then that's how fast it comes, and that's the destructiveness. It does. I've been to Dolphin Island out near Mobile, Alabama, after one hit. Out in that whole area, the Mobile Bay got hit with the hurricane at one time, and I was out there after. It looks like a bomb goes off. It's that destructive. You've seen Sandy. I mean, Sandy's another example, or Hurricane Andrew when it hit the South Florida, or what was the big one that hit the one that hit New Orleans down there, the big when Bush was president.
I know what you're talking about. We Katrina. Should both know this. Katrina. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, it really does. It's surreal. It looks like a war zone, and I can, because I've seen both, and it looks it's so but when you started talking about it, and I was like, that's what it looks like when the water starts rising. You're like, is this supposed to be happening?
Yeah,
and it's so cool. Water's cool. Mother Nature's badass. I love weather. Badass.
Yeah, it was a good show, man. I had a good time. But it did make me wonder, a venue like that, if they have to like reconstruct this whole thing, like, will it be able to withstand? Because it's a venue that's only active 3 months out of the year, because the rest of the year it's too cold to be at an outdoor venue on the ocean. So you think about that, and then also, quite honestly, these mid-tier bands in like Smashing Pumpkins at this point is that mid-tier level. They're
Yeah.
not what they were when they first reunited probably 7 years ago and were filling up venues.
Sure.
And they're not packing out that place. I mean, there were people there, but it wasn't near a sellout. And when I saw Godsmack, same thing, not near a sellout. And
Really?
it makes not even close.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now Godsmack, I mean, Godsmack's still putting out stuff every once in a while. Them and just, I guess Disturbed's probably a little bit more, but yeah, even Smashing Pumpkins. I was going to ask you that. How was it full? Are they still, they're
I mean, it wasn't like half empty, but it definitely was not a sellout. It makes me think like, it's actually the type of stuff we spoke about in the last episode with like the music industry issues. Like, there are obviously the Taylor Swifts who are going to make a ton of money for the music industry. Or when I saw Metallica at Giant Stadium last month, I mean, I've never seen more people in a stadium in my life.
Still, Metallica's still packing.
Metallica's still insane. I mean, it was Giant Stadium, every single seat sold out, and the whole floor, because it was in the round. It was a center stage. So the entire football field packed out.
Wow.
And every seat in the football field. And they did 2 nights for the weekend. And they're doing that all over the country. They're doing 2 different sets, 2 nights. So yeah, Metallica still has that. But these bands who aren't on the Metallica level, you start to think like it's going to impact not just them, but the people who work for these bands, the venues. But anyway, we'll get on to some other stuff. Actually, the big news, I would say, in special operations, although it's like silly to call this big news, but it's funny. People who don't even have any interest in special operations were texting me, and it's because truthfully, everyone knows Rob O'Neill. Everybody knows the operator. And I want to cover it, definitely not to kick the guy while he's down, because I like Rob O'Neill. I got a chance to meet him a couple of times, interview him. I have a book signed by him. His book was great, by the way. Love the operator. I love hearing about him training and listening to Guns N' Roses. But yeah, recently, just this last week before recording this, arrested for assault and public intoxication. I'll give you my, first immediate thoughts. Where I remember a few years ago, back when Rob came back, put out the book and everything, he got arrested for public intoxication, or I don't know what the charge was, but he was asleep in his vehicle.
In Montana. It was in Montana. It was like almost his hometown or something up there. Yeah, I remember that.
And he wasn't driving, though. He was like passed out asleep at like, I think it was like a 7-Eleven or that type of thing.
Yeah.
And I remember my immediate feeling was cut the guy some slack. He wasn't driving. He wasn't putting anyone in danger. But then when I heard about like another arrest, you start to think maybe this wasn't his first time, and maybe they did give him a warning. And at a certain point, you got to do something. Yeah. And to me, it's like when I hear this happening again and again and again, and unfortunately it has, my feeling is I think Rob's a great guy, very accomplished, does a lot of media, but that's the point where you got to just say, all right, I obviously have a problem. You're now in your mid 40s. You're no longer like a young guy who's done with your deploying and all that. It's time to say, yeah, I'm going to take a break from media, social media, and go to rehab and get better. I think. And I mean, I don't know Rob that well. I mean, I've texted with the guy. I know him a little bit. I've interviewed him. But I mean, just as an observer, it looks like he has an alcohol problem.
Yeah, he does. He does. Period. If you're in the community, you've heard. We've all, and I don't know. I'm not buddies with Rob. We know each other. We've seen each. When I used to do the media circuits, we'd run into each other, and we've spoken to the same groups. We're public speaking. He used to do a lot of it. I don't know if he does too much anymore, but if you've run around in the public figure world, within the operator public figure world, we all know who has problems with substances or alcohol, and Rob, that's the word. And yeah, I've seen it. I've seen it as well. I haven't gone drinking with him, but he does. And I feel sympathy for him, because I understand that. I understand the pressure. I understand the drinking. I drank a ton when I was having my downtime, when I was divorced from Tanya, and when I was doing still doing a lot of the media. It's like right before you and I sat down, and when I spoke in that place in Atlantic
in New
City.
Jersey.
Yeah, I was right. I was just coming out of it, but it'd been a year of that. And what, I'll whether Rob wants it or not, I'm gonna give him my advice. Like, dude, you got to step away from the spotlight. You can't. That's not us. It becomes an ego thing, and it's not us. You got to pull yourself out of it and get away from it for a year. You know, I remember when we met, I had nuked all my social media. I wasn't doing any more media. It wasn't any more TV stuff.
Which I don't think you have to go that crazy. I think you could just take a break from it.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
You don't even have to announce it. I like, you know,
No.
you're not a politician. I don't feel like he needs to be like, I'm stepping away to be with my family.
Well,
you could just not be on and
just
don't do your podcast for a few months. And when you're back to yourself, get back to, you know, and if you want to keep doing media, do it. But yeah.
I think in my opinion, my recommendation would be a year. It's like, dude, take a year, 6 months at least, a year, 2 months. No, you're not stepping away from shit. Because we gotta get back to what we were when we were deploying, when we were working, and to be that person again. It doesn't mean you can't still be an arrogant asshole. You know, I'm an arrogant asshole sometimes, and I know Rob is too. It's how a lot of us are made. But you know, you want to be that guy when you're deploying, not the guy that public figure sees. And I was going to say that same thing. You beat me to it. And you're spot on. You don't even need to tell anybody. Just like hey, just do it for yourself, and maybe get some therapy, alcohol therapy. I've been to that Omni. Actually, I spoke at that Omni not more than a couple of months ago, right there in Frisco. Did a speaking event there. It's a nice place. Everybody was extremely nice there. The security to me was extremely nice. That was one thing that brother, come on, holy shit. You know, calling a security guard the N-word.
Oh, allegedly, because I also want to say Rob says that never happened. I don't know if there's video of it, and you know, but that's also the problem with alcohol too, though, is you know, and you can see from that mugshot, he looks drunk, and I don't think Rob is a racist or anything like that. I don't know if he said, I have no idea. It's one guy's word against the other, unless there's video or something. Yeah. But the problem is people do get drunk and then they go, wait, I did that? I didn't, you know, like, well, so I don't know. I mean, if he was drunk, he may have done something and didn't remember. I don't know.
And I don't know Rob extremely well either. Like, but I never saw him as a racist. He never came across to me as a racist either. So
no, not at all.
I didn't. The allegedly did. So it's not. We're not confirming that. Maybe bullshit.
Well, like he said on his Instagram. He said two things on his Instagram. Actually, I did see. He said, "I never used that language," and he said the security guard was a white guy. So why would I say that? That's what he said. So,
and you can't trust the fucking media, especially in this woke generation, dude. They'll do anything. But that the Omni, that did seem odd to me. The way it was explained, though, seemed right by the security, because security, they were extremely good. They're nice. It's a great hotel, and the people there are extreme. I mean, it's an Omni hotel. You're going to have great customer service at an Omni just because it's a freaking Omni hotel. You're upper echelon hotels, but everybody was just extremely genuine and nice. And when I read, hey, they helped him up to his room. You know, they're just trying to get him back to bed. I could see that at the Omni. Yeah, I could see him being like that. But yeah, if he did say that, dude, come on now, you know better than that. You don't do that. That's horseshit. But in his defense, he never came across to me that way as being a racist either. So, with the media, who knows?
That's why I think alcohol is such an issue with some people, man, because you could turn into this person that is not you at all. And for some people, you got to say, I can't do this. It's not good for me. I've heard, I've heard the saying before. I don't think he created, but I remember Scott Stapp saying, like, I'm allergic to alcohol because I break out in handcuffs. I've heard that before from a few guys, and guys like that need to, I mean, Scott Stapp actually is a guy that went kind of nuts for a while. I mean, he was calling, I don't know if you remember, like, it was like probably 10 years ago, where he was calling his son's school saying that there were like bomb threats and Taliban and ISIS and all different types of crazy shit.
And he was Scott
Stapp from Creed. Yeah, he was having psychotic episodes, and he went away for a while, and he seems to be doing good now. And obviously it's not to that level with Rob O'Neill, but if you have a problem, I think you know it's funny. I was thinking about this. I did the episode with Justin Blazewski. I always pronounce his last name wrong, but the guy from Vetoga a few months ago, and he talked about, and it's funny because you always make fun of this, but I understand where he was coming from. He was talking about the toxic masculinity thing. He was saying, like, getting into yoga was stepping into his feminine, and he was like, I needed to learn how to be a positive male and not a toxic male. And I think that could be part of things for some guys. I mean, it is in that category. Not everything masculine is obviously toxic masculinity. It's stupid, but there are things in that category. Getting into bar fights, you know, and stuff like that, and then after you've been arrested a number of times, just saying, like, nope, I'm just going to keep going about my life. I'm not going to rehab. yeah, that's kind of in that category of what you could call toxic
They-
masculinity. It
they
is
all
masculinity. It is
it
high
is.
testosterone, but it's toxic behavior, right? So
It is. It's the Oduo rules complex from Billy Madden. I use Oduo. If you ever see me on social media, guys do that Oduo rules tag. That's what I mean. It's the fucking toxic masculinity. But you know how I fix mine with the alcohol, and now when I go out, I don't that I when I
but
go on.
you're not an alcoholic.
Not anymore.
You know?
Not anymore. And I stopped doing that when I started getting my shit together. And I was never,
So,
it
I'm
was
saying
never like that. No, you're right. I was never to that extreme, but there was, yeah, I was drunk all the time. I just locked myself in my room. When I go on these speaking events now, I know what my weaknesses are, and I know, yeah, I may not go. I go to my room. I have a drink if I'm going to. Just like this last event I did in Omaha last week. Great group called the Revolution Group. Tremendous people. They were awesome. But did the book signing, and they're getting drunk, dude. They're partying, and these corporate, they're drinking, they're partying, and have my drink, sign my books. You want to stay down and drink some more? No, I'm going back to my room. And that's what I do. And it kind of sucks because I want to stay down and have a good time. I did, but I also know I don't need any more alcohol. I did, and I'll give you an example. Florida event I did in Naples 2 months ago. I did stay down and I had a couple extra, and I got belligerent. I got belligerent. I could even tell. I was like, holy shit, what did I just say? And I was like, guys, excuse me, I got to get out of here. And I go back to my room. And so I understand where Rob's coming from. I understand. I do. I don't accept it. I don't want to, I don't condone it at all. In fact, I condemn the hell out of it. But be a man, dude, and say, dude, I can't be down here. Yeah, I may not be the life of the party. So what? I'm going back to my room. I'm going to call my wife. He's married. As far as I know, he still is married. Very pretty woman. Hey, dude, you got a pretty wife at home? Give her a call. I'll go back to my room. I'll call my wife. I watch a little TV, put on Netflix if I've got the TV, or watch a movie. I'll watch Fletch or something funny, and I'll go to bed. And yeah, it's not the fun times I had back when and when I say fun, I put that in quotation marks, guys. It's not the times hanging out where I'm drinking, partying, and just the life of the party. Everybody's buying you a drink. I don't think I bought myself a drink for 3 years, but it's also I'm doing the right thing. I'm being responsible. I'm not going to end up in a fist fight, or not going to end up drunk laying, which I remember, geez, I've been times where I'm drunk. How the fuck did I get here? But that's the right thing to do. Be a man. Go to your room. You know your limitations. Now get to your room, call your wife, go to bed, get up the next morning, get a flight home, and fucking be with your family.
But once again, that's, I think the difference is that's coming from a standpoint of a guy, as you're saying, you've had slip ups, but you're saying you do know your limitations.
Yeah.
He may be a guy who doesn't know his limitations and needs to go to rehab, right? I mean, because you never have to go to rehab for anything. You've never been arrested for, as far as I know, for public intoxication as an adult, multiple times. And to me, that says to me, you have a serious problem. It's not just like I could stop this myself.
Correct. You are very correct. No, you're extremely correct. I got nothing there, brother. I basically I've been able to stem it and put that tourniquet on that bleed before it got to that point. Yeah. So now he's got to that point. But he's still got to cut that and let that fester, get all that pus out and get all that infection out, because now he's got to that point. And if he doesn't, he's not going to work in the speaking world ever again. They don't want people like that. If you're a problem like that, you're never going to speak for a corporation again, because they don't want that liability. And you're supposed to be speaking about leadership and integrity and honor. That's what they have military guys come in for. Overcoming adversity, how to deal with obstacles. And if you're getting arrested because you're getting drunk at a bar, and now you're going, do you think Jimmy John's or Burger King or Disney or especially Disney, or any of these execs are going to say, hey, yeah, come on, Rob, we want you to speak to our guys about how to be a great leader. No, you're done. So I'm concerned that I don't think he's going to have really on that end that he's ever going to speak again. And from what I've seen, he's a good speaker. He's got a good story. We've spoken on the same circuits, and that's too bad. And you don't really get second chances in that corporate side. When you burn your bridge there, you're done, because there's a lot of other people that can take your places, from Matt Eversman to Mark Nutch, from the Horse Soldier, Kirk Leopold to other guys like that.
But I actually do think those corporations would understand if he did what you originally said, right? Took a year off, went to rehab,
Yeah,
came
yeah,
back a new person.
yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
think there's always redemption for all that type of stuff. But if you're just immediately doing the exact same stuff again, yeah, I agree with you. They're not going to feel that way. The last thing I could say about, I mean, I don't know if like prior to joining the teams, Rob had a drinking problem, but I could understand how it develops because even from the interviews I had with him, like when he came out as the operator, the guy who shot bin Laden. And I know that'll always be a controversial topic among guys in special operations, not so much to the public, but the idea of taking credit for it. Was he the guy who actually took the shot? You know, none of us know except the guys who were there. We know he was there on that mission. We know all the guys who were on that mission were heroic, but I do know when he came back, you know, he became friends with Kid Rock. He's getting drunk with Kid Rock on Kid Rock's yacht. They hang out all the time. Like, I'm sure there's a lot of fun stuff, man, that you don't want to leave behind because you enjoy it. But when
But
it
that's
gets to
not.
this point, yeah.
But that's not us. We're not rock stars. We shouldn't be rock stars. It's not. That's not what you, Rob. I'm talking personally to him. If he hears this, we're not, buddy. We're not. We did what we did, and we're awesome at it. And you should be commended for your, not just for the bin Laden, just for doing and being part of Dev Group. All you fuckers that are SEAL Team 6 or the White Side, you guys, special operations, you all should be commended because that shit's hard to get into and it's hard to live that life. But we're not rock stars, and you should. That's my opinion, but we shouldn't want to live that life. That's not us, and we don't need to be looked at. Let the rock stars be the rock stars. You be the operator, right? Operator. You wrote the book about it. You be the operator, and hold you to that standard, which is that highest standard of integrity and honor and duty and all that. And hey, I'm preaching to the choir here. I've had my downfalls too, where I didn't uphold those standards either, and I had to fix my fucking shit. So, but in the ending, done. I know we've beaten this dead horse here. I do have a prayer for. I prayers to him. I want him to get his shit together. I want him to get better because he is a good role model when he's not being a knucklehead. You know, and I think he's still got a lot of good lessons to teach people in the corporate world, not just there, but just everybody in life in general. Just like a buddy told me, like Ben Morgan, who told me when I was all fucked up, hey, dude, you need to unfuck your shit. Well, I'm telling him right now, you need to unfuck yourself, dude, because the world needs guys like Rob O'Neill that have done stuff. They need the Tim Kennedys. They do. They need that, whether you like them or not. In our world, we're going to fight with each other because we're the alpha dogs, and you're pissing on my tree. But we still need guys like that because you are a role model. Jocko, you are a role model. He's still doing it right though, from a business, and he's a great businessman. But we need those guys out there to continue to show and set examples of what the values of the military are. And so I prayers for him, dude. I hope he gets his shit together because he's a good dude, and he deserves to live a long life riding off in the sunset eventually. But partying with Kid Rock on a yacht is not gonna.
But that's fun. It's fun.
It's
you don't need to be doing it all the time.
All
right?
the time. You're right. Do it once. You got.
I would do it, dude. If Kid Rock invites me to, I don't even drink anymore at all. If Kid Rock invites me to drink on a yacht, I'm coming.
Listen, do it once. All right, that's it. We're done. We're done, man. Hey, I've been on the Malta looking over the Mediterranean in Michael Bay's private section.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Boogieing with James Masdale and Pablo and all these other. I don't even know who these people were. You know, there's I should post that. I did it. It was cool. It was like a movie, like at a club overseas. It was fun. Done it. Stumbled back to the bar, passed out. I don't even passed out on the floor of the Westin Hotel. Did it. Don't need to do it again. One time's done. Yeah. So cool, boy.
Yeah. So and I will say, man, if I don't know if this will get picked up anywhere. If it does, hopefully Rob listens to it in full context, because I wouldn't want him to think we're covering this and talking shit and just doing clickbait nonsense. I mean, look, a lot of you guys will probably click on it if this gets clipped. But you know, Rob has my cell phone number. I have Rob's cell phone number. He's welcome to come on, as far as I'm concerned, anytime. If anything I said was incorrect, you could come on and
come on and tell. Yeah. He's always welcome. We're not best friends or nothing, but I still consider him a friend. I do, even though we've only met talked a few times. We've traveled in the same circles, and I seriously mean it. All the prayers to him. I want him to succeed. I want him to get better. So, dude, get better. And
I'll tell you one last thing that's really funny, and then we'll get off the Rob O'Neill topic.
Okay.
But when I did meet him, which I have a picture of, maybe Howard could put it up on the screen. our friend Drew Dwyer came in with a stack of books that he wanted signed by Rob O'Neill. And I swear to you, Drew Dwyer, because he was getting it signed for like charity and stuff. Drew Dwyer held the book like this. He was like, "Hey, Mr. O'Neill, can you sign?"
He said,
And I'm like, "Dude,
Mr.
why are
O'Neill.
you intimidated right now? Like, it's just Rob, it's just Rob." But
Right, Drew's got his own stories, man. I mean,
yeah,
we've got Drew stories. I mean, rest in peace, brother. Saint, you're the man. But shit, Drew is
that is what happened though. He was very intimidated.
Yeah,
I will say.
dude, if I would have known that when Drew was alive, I would have give him. I would, if he was still with us, brother. As soon as we're done this podcast, I would call him and give him so much shit. But Drew's good, dude. It's good memories with Drew. Drew's, he left us way too early, man. Drew's tremendous. Another. Well, Rob, I don't want you to be like that, dude. I'm not that Drew took it. I did, but substance, man, and possibly alcohol. Bud, get your shit together, man. You need to be on this earth for a long, long time and have grandkids and be a good person, spokesperson for us military folks for a long time, man. So get your shit together, buddy.
Yeah. All right. Next thing I want to hit before we get to questions and all that. So this has finally happened. We covered this, not you because you weren't on this episode, but on the July 4th episode with John Rain Waters.
Yeah.
We spoke about Ukraine was going to be receiving F-16s. They have received F-16s now. And the reason I talk about, that show, we have a whole clip of it on YouTube if you guys want to look it up. The reason this is important to me, I didn't even get John's take on if he agrees with the Ukraine war, if he doesn't agree with it. And it wasn't pertinent to the subject because his experience as an F-16 pilot, which is what was important to the subject we were speaking on. And he said emphatically, and I will take his word at it as a guy who's been behind the wheel of an F-16 many times. He said, there's absolutely no reason we should be giving F-16s to Ukraine. He said, it took me months to learn how to turn this thing on, let alone fly it.
Yeah. Who's going to fly them?
They don't have the training. It's going to take a long time to be proficient to fly in these. And it makes me think kind of, and something we've spoke about many times. I feel like we're just throwing as much money at the problem as possible and not even asking the experts, is this a solution? Is this efficient?
Oh man, don't even get me started with this administration. This has been a shit show from the beginning, brother. And guys, you can say I'm Republican is because I believe in God and I love the Constitution. I serve my country, but I'm not a Trumper either. See, I don't want to hear either. Oh, you just want Trump. You hate. No, this has been a shit show. If you sit back, it has. It's been a shit show with this administration, like other administrations, which has been a shit shows. But this takes the cake. It's a pretty simple answer. Who the fuck's going to fly these things? If it's now, my question is, there shenanigans going on? Are you going to have former military contractors flying these things now under the auspice of being Ukrainians? Because to me, or I don't know, maybe you're pulling NATO people in that have flown them before. Some of our allies that have used F-15s. Is it F-15? F-16. F-16. So, maybe you're going to bring them in. And yeah, I would assume that's probably what's going to happen. I just don't think they're going to give them to Ukraine and say, here, go. Yeah, go. Here, you can't even turn the damn thing on. But it's another mistake. People and all these pundits and foreign policy advisors, hey, we need to stop this bully from coming into Ukraine. We got to stop her, because if we don't stop him, then who's going to stop from going to Poland? Or dude, he's losing his ass right now, right now to a bunch of farmers and maybe some mercenaries. You really think he's going to be able to roll up into Europe and roll into Poland? He can't win the war. He couldn't even get 50 miles into Ukraine without losing his. So there's got to be other reasons that we're given all this money, all these assets when, and I know this is the popular subject right now with the Hawaiian wildfires, but it's right. I hate to jump on the bandwagon, but I'm going to anyway. Why not that money given? What's up? Give that money to Americans that need it right now, not to the Ukrainian government, which really doesn't. We need it here more than they need it there. And foreign policy be damned. Whatever, guys. That's my feeling on it. And I'm with you, brother, on the F-16s. Who the fuck? That was my question when you said it. Who the fuck's going to fly them? There's no way, unless we're doing shenanigans and having U.S. pilots that are no longer in the service, or maybe they are and they're coming in disguised as Ukrainian, or our allies that have flown them are now providing pilots to Ukraine to fly those things, because I don't get it, man. I wish I don't get it. To take a line from Big, the Tom Hanks movie, I don't get it. I don't.
And I actually do think most people are in agreement with you. I mean, look, I understand the support for Ukraine and the issue with Putin, of course. And when this first started, I said, yeah, we should be over there supporting Ukraine in some capacity in terms of, yeah, we're going to give some money to make sure that Russia doesn't, take over fully. But I never thought it would be this unlimited thing, this unlimited amount. When I hear, when I hear them say basically there's no limit to the amount we're going to give to Ukraine, that's a problem. And I don't know if you watched the Republican debates, but I think that's the reason that Vivek Ramaswamy is surging right now over someone like DeSantis, over all these other candidates, because he was the only one who put his hand up and said that, no, I wouldn't fully support Ukraine. Everybody else was fine with it. And I do think when you see Vivek Ramaswamy, who is a relative unknown, surging in the polls, I think that's part of it, honestly, that they feel like, what's the difference between DeSantis, Haley, all these people, and Biden if they're going to do the exact same thing, So
hey, kudos to him. He's in my opinion, he's right. I'm not a politician. I don't want to be one. I've served on the ground in some wars, and I do know that, but I also, I also can watch from being 10 years in the global on terror and just watching tactics and watching reports. And you learn a lot of if somebody has an advantage or not on the battlefield. And when I say that Russia got stone cold stopped first time when they first went, you can't use that excuse that we need all these assets to stop this monster from rolling up Europe. He doesn't have the capability. He couldn't even roll 30 miles into Ukraine without getting stone cold stopped. So that doesn't fly with me at all. So it's stupid. It's wrong. And that money should be going. It should be going to. It should. You want to tell me where it should be going? It should be going to people in Hawaii right now. A lot of that.
Or I mean, a lot of people would also say the money should be going to enforce the border. I would
I'm always with that, buddy. And this is from who's abuelo, Joaquin Garcia. My grandfather was a picker. Just so you guys know, because I've had some of you people whiter than these walls in here come and say, "Oh, you're not Mexican." Like, yeah, I am. Well, why don't you have that? Man, you don't sound like a Mexican. Holy shit, is that the most racist? What am I supposed to sound like, Cheech Marin? Hey, man, I've heard that shit.
Where are the people who would say that though? Because I wonder. Because I feel like here, right, New York, for all its faults, like I don't think you would get that comment here.
No, it's out. It's here. It's Midwest, man. Yeah. It's Midwest or if I get down south, because I do have a little bit of a southern twang when I'm down south, just from being at Fort Benning for so long. I picked up that little southern twang, but I've gotten at a few events. It's always it's happened twice, and it's the two people.
It's never from Latinos, you're saying?
No, it's never. It's from a white. It's from a white woman between her 40s and 50s. The two times it happened, white woman, 40s and 50s, and really, But I mean, it goes without saying, like when you see a wide open border and we're talking about protecting borders overseas, it just doesn't make sense. But anyway, we got plenty of emails to get to. We'll have to run through them semi quickly. We'll see what we can do. Okay, I'll get through them quick. I'll help.
But before we do, one of our great sponsors, the best supplements on the market, Bubs Naturals, bubsnaturals.com. They have great MCT oil powder, collagen protein, apple cider vinegar gummies. They also have Bubs Brew, the best coffee out there, hydrate or die, and all of their supplements you can check out on the website at bubsnaturals.com. And this is stuff that I use and you use every day. And,
the MCT oil they're calling it now, isn't that the Halo Creamer that they're calling it now? I believe so, because that's
this is above my pay grade.
I know, I believe, but check it out, guy, because the Halo Creamer, I'm on the sponsorship, so I get a new thing every month, and I want to say that the MCT oil is now called the Halo Creamer. It's still the MCT oil. It's still great stuff, great pre-workout stuff, get you going, great for your gut. The collagen powder, it's helped me immensely with my rehabilitation of ripping my quad tendon and quad muscle in half. I've said that every show because I mean it. Dude, it's the best supplements by far out there, and they give back to the Glendora Memorial Foundation, which, that's it. That sells it for me right there. Tremendous product, tremendous company.
All right, so I'm on the website now. So the Halo Creamer is like, it looks like it's grass-fed butter, right, and MCT oil powder. So it's kind of a combination between those
Combination
two
of both.
things.
Okay. Yep. Well, I'm going to get
And they still do have MCT oil powder. So they got
Gotcha.
they got both.
Gotcha. Well, as long as it's got the MCT oil in it, I'm going to try the Halo creamer. I just got some new ones, but the MCT oil I still use as a creamer for my coffee, and it's still excellent as well. So if you don't want to go to the Halo creamer and you want to stick with the MCT oil, stick with it. It's still a great creamer for your coffee. And my assumption after, sorry, Sean, my bad, Sean Lake, who runs.
No, I think
Stubbs
it's
Natural.
it's just got the grass-fed butter in there, which is also good for you. So I think it's just a combination of those two things.
And it's butter, dude. Who doesn't like butter? I always scoops of butter out of the butter churn if I could. Back in the good
People
old
who are on
1920s.
keto do that a lot. They eat the like grass-fed butter all the time. Yeah,
that sounds so good right now.
if you're on keto, apparently it's good for you. I've never done it, but just people who are like shredded and they're eating like packs of butter.
That's my new diet, man. Good thing.
But then you got to give up all carbs.
No. I'm an all protein diet, but I still do carbs. So that's what I'm going to do, man. But
but I'm saying you'd have to give up carbs if you're going to do the butter.
No, I'm telling you that. No, I'm not, dude. I told you that's my diet. That's all protein diet, and I still do carbs. There's my diet. That's the Tanto.
But the butter is fat.
Stop breaking, dude. You're raining on my parade. Dude, you're breaking my heart. Knock that off.
Well, anyway, guys, you can check all this out. It's bubsnaturals.com, bubsnaturals.com. Use the promo code Battleline for 20% off. All right, with that, I'm going to shuffle up these emails because I haven't looked at these actually in a while other than the recent ones. So I have no idea what's coming up on these. We've got a lot of them.
Oh, cool.
We'll try to run through them semi-quickly. Sent to battlelinepodcast@gmail.com. We try to keep these going. So if you have any questions, we'll get to them at some point. Just send them to battlelinepodcast@gmail.com. All right, first one here is from Jacob. Hey, Kris, former 2nd Battalion dude here. I got back to my home in the great state of Tennessee after serving for 5 years in 2nd Bat. What's the best path currently into the security contracting world with Afghanistan closed down and Syria and Iraq with a much smaller footprint? Rangers lead the way, and that's Jacob once again.
Roger that, Jacob, all the way. Thanks for your service, buddy. Still go with checking the bigger companies out there. Blackwater's now called Constellus Group. Check them out. Look at them. SOCA USA. They used to be called SOC SMG. Now I think they may just be called SOC. You've got to go to the bigger ones to see what contracts are out there. And then by word of mouth, once you get in, that's when you start to find what the special contracts are, the GRS, Ground Branch, Scorpion contracts with the NSA. They may have changed the name, but those are generally word of mouth. They really don't promote those or advertise those contracting positions. So look for the good foot in the door always, and you've got the pedigree for it, is to take a look at the bigger companies and look for mobile security. That's the key words there. Mobile security is your high threat security or your low vis security like GRS. And Ocean Hunter Group's another one that's been out there for a while. They're great. And I'm sure there's others that I don't even know about anymore that have popped up. And then just get your foot in the door. Once you get your foot in the door, that's when you start to see who you need to talk to and who's working where and who can put your name in to recommend you for like the CIA contracts. And that's where you want to be. You want to be on those smaller special contracts. They pay more. The guys are usually better. But you do have to go through some vetting processes, and it's still tough. So maintain your shooting, your physical fitness, you're going to be fine. But as long as you don't drink a lot of beer and you don't go out there and eat a lot of, go on the all protein, eat a slab of butter, all carb diet like me. But keep you in shape. But the shooting, you got to maintain your shooting process because that's still pretty tough. The rest of the stuff you shouldn't have an issue with. It's just getting your foot in the door. And if you have to do a year on the State Department contract, do a year. That's what I did. A lot of us did. And then after that year is when we saw what we needed to do to get on the specialized contracts. But always keyword, mobile security, or there's another one called human. Gosh, guys, I'm going to tell you the wrong thing. Just look at Constellus Group for right now. Look at SOC. Look at Ocean Hunter Group, and look at just look at some of the bigger firms out there. And that's about all I can give you. I've been out of the game for a long time, so I'm sure a lot of things have changed.
That sounds like some good advice, though. I didn't know you'd be up on like a lot of these newer names because it hasn't really been asked in detail like that.
Just because some of my buddies are still working. One of my
That's
original
cool, though.
buddies from Third Ranger Bat, who was one, he's still works State Department contracts. It's been 20 years he's been on it, and I'm like, dude, you need to go home. But he's great. And he works for Constellus Group, just so you know, buddy. And he's a former third bat guy, and his name's and I can't give you his name because he's still working. But yeah, that's just
Cool.
do your best, man. Just get your feelers out there and get ready to do SF-86 as your background checks. They're gonna want them, and they are a pain in the fucking ass. So just get ready to do a lot of paperwork, man.
All right, this next one, I feel like this is either an inside joke or it's something from
Shit.
it might be something from 13 Hours that I don't remember or something.
Okay.
I feel like it's from a friend though, because his name is Paul, but it says from G. So it says, "Is booty still the most crucial thing in your life, Tanto?" From G.
Paul, I know exactly. Paul Greenberg. He used to call him Green Wallet. Paul Green Wallet. We played football together. He was a tight end when I was at Dick, and we used to sit by. I tell you what, yeah, booty is still crucial. We used to sit in our dorm rooms. Come on, we're college kids, right? We're college kids. And we went to Dixie Junior College. It was a junior college time, and we were one of the best junior colleges in the nation. Buddy, we had, and if you go to back in those days, if you went to a junior college, especially a top junior college, the majority of the athletes there are great athletes. They're there because we can't go to school. We're trying to get our grades up. So you got a bunch of truants and deviants going to school, and we were awesome. But bro, we got kids from Las Vegas. We had Tongan Crip gangsters that were coming in from Salt Lake. Then we'd have the farm kids that just weren't good at school that would come and play. And yeah, this booty dude, come on, it's MTV. That's MTV time. That's Belle Biv DeVoe time. That's back in those days when Johnny Gill, New Edition, Belle Biv DeVoe. We're watching, and booty was crucial. So, and you had MTV booty videos on the time. We would stay up and watch. What's the one? It was it was the MTV Raps, man, with Fab Five Freddy, and watching the booty shaking videos, man. Yes, and booty was crucial. We had I forget who it was. I think it was Tyrone. And I'm not being a stereotypical dude. There's a black dude named Tyrone, great guy. Tyrone Taylor was his name. And man, he'd sit there and we watch, we were watching, I think we were watching a third base video. I think we may be watching Pop Goes the Weasel or something, or maybe it was a Gas Face. I don't remember, or it could have been a De La Soul. I don't remember. But they're out there twerking. It was before twerking was twerking. They're bouncing their booties. He goes, man, that booty is crucial. And we all just looked at each other and just busted out laughing. And that from then on out, man. If we saw a nice booty, man, that booty is crucial. And that's the inside joke. And our dorms were athletic dorms. So the whole football team, it could have been a fraternity because the whole dorm was the football team. And that's what we do, man. And that was good times, man. I was glad that's Paul Green Wallet. Love Paul, great guy. And I can't believe he actually listens to the podcast, and I can't believe he sent in a question and you read it, because he's a good friend, man. I said talked to him in years, and I used to call him Green Wallet because our football coach couldn't say Greenberg, and his coach was a kind of a dick and didn't like him, so he didn't want to get to know his name. So he'd always say, "Hey, Green Wallet, where are you?" The football coach would, and that's why I started calling him Green Wallet.
I was thinking Greenberg, it would be some type of Jewish stereotype.
No,
I was like, it definitely sounds like
that.
Tinby,
Hey,
right?
man, that's a good thing too. And he still owes me fucking gas money, because I was used on the way home, I would have to deviate from my path to drive 40 miles for him to see his girlfriend, which is now his wife, and he never paid me for gas money. That's like 300 gallons of gas. So you owe me gas money, Green Wallet, from 40 years ago. But yeah, that booty's crucial, dude. I got to start hashtagging that. Booty's crucial.
All right, we're gonna keep going here. We got plenty of emails. So
sorry,
we'll
man, that was hilarious.
It's hilarious. Awesome. We'll have to make a short out of one of those. That was funny, man. All right, so this is from Tina. How much static, if any, did you get from the government when 13 Hours was out? I would think they tried to keep the book from being published.
They did, but we had a tremendous lawyer. You have to get a clearance lawyer, and we learned. It was outstanding. The lady that first helped us, actually, her name was Suzanne Simons. She was a producer for Wolf Blitzer at the time. I protected her in Afghanistan, and she was a friend, and she had written a book about it. She wrote Eric Prince's book, and
which is a good book.
Yeah, it it is. And she just kind of guided us. Because we didn't know what we were doing. And we knew the No Easy Day had just been hammered by the government. And we're like, we can't, they're going to come after us. What do we do? And she directed us to Mark Zaid, who was a clearance lawyer, and he just got us through the right route. So we did everything right. So we didn't give them the opportunity to come after us. Yes, they did, but it did take them a while for them to clear it. And that's also the reason why the cover of the book says Mitchell Zukov with the Annex security team and doesn't name our names, even though it still makes no sense to me. They wouldn't clear it if we put our names on the cover, but we could put our names on the inside of it. I don't know. So we had to give little things here, but
well, it's funny going back to Rob's book, right? Rob O'Neill's book, The Operator. SEAL Team 6 is blacked out throughout the book, and it's like we all know he's talking about SEAL Team 6.
It's just you gotta, it's like battles, dude. It's like the Odoa rules. It's like there's battle. You got to give and take. You got to give a little to win a little, and that's what we had to do. But if you get a clearance lawyer, and I'm sure Rob did as well, we learned from No Easy Day, which has nothing classified in it, and a great book too. We all learned from the gentleman who wrote that, and great guy, tremendous, great.
Which is Mark Owen is the fake name.
Fake name, yeah. But he's he's a tremendous operator in his own right. But
are we able to say the real name or not?
I don't know yet. So let's just hold off, because I'm not sure. I don't want to give. That's up to, if we ever can get him on the show, he can say.
Yeah, I remember I reached out on Instagram, I never heard back. I'd love to interview him.
I'll hit him up. Maybe just we'll see. But yeah, but we did the right thing. And Mark Zaid, who does clearances, security clearance lawyer, and does get clearances for books. As far as I'm concerned, he's one of the best in the country, and he managed to get it through. And that's the beauty of 13 Hours Down. I'm putting this out there because 13 Hours was always supposed to be a political book. Mark Zaid hates Trump. He's liberal. And he was on our team battling for us. And that's why I hate politics, man, because we were really 13 Hours. We had people on both sides of the aisle that were really helping us a bunch. And Mark's one of them. And I want to put that out there because I do think I want to keep people, start seeing people as what political side they are and just as people. And Mark's a tremendous guy. Much kudos. I'm still much respect, and I still consider Mark a great friend. And he did us right. He really did an outstanding job keeping the government off our back and got the book out.
Awesome. All right. This isn't really a question. I feel like this guy's ordering you around with what to do.
Oh, no. Is it another friend? Is it Green Wallet?
No. This is from Stephen R. Golda. He says, this is the email. It's not a question, but I'll read it. He says, go on Hannity and explain the operation that transpired with you and the other heroes in Benghazi. Give us the 13 hours of what happened. Thanks a lot. That's the email.
We have it. Brett Baer. It's Brett Baer special. That's already out there, brother. It was what was like that. That was the very first thing we did. And if you subscribe to Fox Nation, it's on there. It's actually, you can. I can't do anything about the subscription where they put it. You maybe even see it on YouTube too, but it's out there. Where me and Tig and Oz sat down with really like a sand table, a map of what we did, and sat down and sat with Brett Baer. It was like an hour-long special. Shit, buddy, we sat for 5 hours. It took us 5 hours to film that hour. That was long. And then we went and got drunk with Brett Baer down in Manhattan, when we went to O'Looney's first, and then we jumped down. That motherfucker can drink his ass off, and his hair never moved. We were so drunk until his aide dropped a glass and broke it in the middle of the bar. And then it's like, okay, party's over. And but Brett Baer's nicest guy. Love that guy. Tremendous. And I'm seriously, no shit. His hair never moved. We did the filming, and then we went and got drunk down in Manhattan, down around the Avenue of Americas, or those bars.
Yeah, usually the place where the Fox people go, which is super high end and like the highest grossing restaurant in all of Manhattan.
Is that steak place?
Is Del Frisco.
Del Frisco's. We went there to eat, and then we went to one of the bars around there, and then
and for those who don't know there, but eating there, I mean, you're dropping like $200 easily on yourself.
Easy. It's really good though. It is great. It's really good.
The type of place. I mean, it for me, like I've gone there once. It's a cool place to go on occasion. For the Fox people, they're there like every night.
Every day, dude. Yeah. Whenever
like
I used to do, Ever used to do shows. That's where we'd always go to eat. Ever I do a show, we'd walk across the street and go to Del Frisco's. But Sam, is it Sam? I forgot. Is that the guy who wrote the book? I'm
the
sorry.
email. The email is Steven.
Steven. It's out there, buddy. It's out there. Brett Bear special. It's the very first interview we ever did, and we go through step by step what happened that night. Me, Oz, and Tig. If you're a subscriber to Fox Nation, it's on there. If not, it might be on YouTube. They might have pulled it off though, Fox, because now they have subscription rights to it. They have the rights to that, and it's the Brett Bear 13 hours special is what it's called.
Yeah. I mean, I'll just say something really quickly about it, because I feel like a lot of people don't realize how, they're not in media. They don't look at how the media works. And I don't know if he's saying like, go on Hannity now and talk about this. And the truth is, it's like the media, it's just this issue, and Benghazi, unfortunately,
it's old. It's old news.
Well, it's just to the people who listen to the show, to the people who follow you, it is not forgotten. To the general public, it's forgotten, unfortunately. Just like almost 9/11 is forgotten. Like I'll use something that Andrew Wilkow would always say, and he'd say about Democrats, but just in the general public, where he would say the history of now, that like we never look back on what happened. We're just why is inflation so high? People don't look back. Well, we got off the gold standard. We did this. People are just they want to look at what's going on right now and not what led us to this point. And I feel like not enough people know about what went on in Benghazi. This audience knows. I'm preaching to the choir. But the general public, there's a ton of people who have no idea or think it was some conspiracy theory.
And, going on Sean Hannity, that's going to be an echo chamber thing, guys. Those people that watch Sean Hannity, and I've been on Hannity's show and actually have talked about.
And how long would he give you? He would give you 2 minutes?
2 minutes, 5 minutes. I mean, top on Hannity's show is usually 4 minutes. And I love Sean, but
you can't explain Benghazi in 4 minutes.
No. So, I'll say this back to Steven. You guys are the ones that are going to get the word out. It's like you said. This audience doesn't forget. You're the ones that need to put it out there. You're the ones that keep needed to put the story out there. Me, I will. I mean, it's part of my life, and we have the podcast. We talk about it always in some aspect, or either Battleline class or something. I'll 9/11. I'm gonna remember. Well, I'll do a 13-hour showing. I'll maybe eventually here in Fort Scott where we bring in. I do, but regardless, I'm going to talk about it. But you guys hear me, people outside that they're not going to hear. But your friends, the ones that I don't know, the ones that you talk to, that's who's going to keep the story alive and going. So I'm throwing it back at you, Steven. You go out there and you tell your friends, especially those that think it's a conspiracy theory, especially your liberal friends who should know the story, but don't want to hear about it because it was because of the Hillary Clinton connection, Obama connection. You need to tell them what happened. And that is how we're going to keep the story alive. And I think it will always be alive. It's been immortalized in a movie that's actually it's an excellent movie, and it's still out there. So the story's never going to go away. It may not, but you're right. It's not going to be in the spotlight because it's not. We're a fast food society. It's just it's going to go in the way. So but it will always be there. It will always be there because it was a Michael Bay Paramount movie with actors that were up and coming that now are solid, solidified actors. Krasinski, who's even a director, tremendous director to Quiet Place Down. Pablo, who's in all sorts of movies and shorts and specials, and even Dominic
on the podcast,
and even David Costable, who played Bob. He's always in these like the Stars miniseries. You'll see him everywhere all the time as well. And Dave Denman, who's always a great character actor, from a deaf tight end to playing Boone on 13 Hours. So it's always going to be alive, but it's you guys that are going to get it out and spread it out to people outside of me, my circle. You guys are going to do that, not me.
Yeah. All right. This one is from a regular, of course, Robin. Good morning, KP and Ian. You guys are amazing, always answering my questions. I know it's been said that you meet people in your life for a reason, some good, some bad, and some stay with you for life. KP probably doesn't remember this, but he literally picked me up many years ago in high school at a track meet. And that to me made a profound impact that you don't forget.
I remember.
And then she asked, with all the people you've met through interviews, speaking events, etc., who do you think made the biggest impact on you and on them?
No, you go first, dude. I've answered two. I need a break.
I'll tell you one, because this actually just came up on not Twitter anymore, on X, but this was not through interviews. This is long before I was ever in radio. I think I told this story early on in the podcast, but it's been years probably since I told it, so I'll tell it again. I went to go see Brides of Destruction in New Jersey in 2004, 2004. So I was like 17 or something at the time. It was like 16 or 17, which was Nikki Sixx from Motley Crue's band with also Tracy Guns from LA Guns. I was there with my older friend Jay, who was like in his mid-20s at the time. He actually was the chef at the camp that I went to, and we became friends because we were into metal, we were into hair metal, we were into all that stuff. So I ended up going to shows with them and stuff. So Jay says to me, he's like, "Hey, you want me to get you a beer, man?" And I'm like, "No, I don't want to get kicked out of here." And me at 16, 17, I looked like I was 12. He's like, "No, I know security here. You're going to be good. They're not going to kick you out." He hands me the beer, and literally, I take one sip. Security grabs me by the shoulder. They threw me out. They like took my name down to make sure I would never be allowed in the venue again. This was Starland Ballroom in New Jersey. And I'm hanging out in the parking lot. And the thing is, usually you would never see the bands, at a bigger venue go into the stage. But Starland's a smaller venue. This was Brides of Destruction. It wasn't Motley Crue. It was, a smaller side band. So I see Nikki Sixx get out of his tour bus, and I say to him, I'm like, "Hey, man, I came all the way out from Long Island. I got kicked out for drinking, but it's cool that I at least got to meet you." And he goes, "Look, I got to run for an interview, but I'm gonna try to get you back in." So he walks to go do this interview. I'm talking to some guy who works security at the venue or the parking lot. And it was, I remember the weather was really cold out. It was, just sucked. And he goes, "You really think Nikki Sixx is going to get you back into the show?" And I was like, "No, but I'm sure he's got shit to do." It was like, it was cool that I at least got to meet him. At least I have that story. I wait around probably 5 minutes. He comes back out. He hands me a VIP laminate.
Yeah, that's cool.
And he's like, "Here you go, man. You're good to go." And someone else was like, "He's not allowed back in." And he's like, "Nikki Sixx said it. He's allowed back in." Got to see it. Legendary show. Had a great time. And then when I worked at Sirius years later, I got to tell him about that. I was like, whenever people say that you're a dick online, I always have your back. I was like, I have a Dr. Feelgood tattoo on my back that probably inspired some of it. And he couldn't have been cooler when I met him years ago, thanking him for it. So on X now, not Twitter, it was like a Loudwire thing that said, "Do you have any great story of getting kicked out of a show?" And I was like, all right, I got to respond to this. So I put up the picture of me and Nikki Sixx from Sirius, relayed what I just told you in shorter form. And Nikki Sixx actually just retweeted it, and he wrote, "I remember this I remember that happening." So I was like, man, how cool is that he remembers that? And yeah, when anybody says Nikki Sixx is a dick, well, like I got his
That's
back.
a cool
man.
story, dude.
Yeah,
That's
he was super cool. I've met a ton of cool people through Sirius and stuff, but I don't think most artists would do that. They would probably go, "Oh, that sucks, man, but have a good night," and I wouldn't be mad at them for it. I think very few artists would put the effort to get some kid back in after that, and I'll always remember that.
That's cool. I've met a lot of people. I don't know if that like had a marked impression on my life. I don't know, just living my life in itself, it's been an impression on. But you know what? I would say where my life took a turn for the better was when I met my second. She hates that one. My second wife, Tanya, hates me saying that. Why am I your second wife? It was because I just got divorced. I did get honorable discharge out of the military, but I shouldn't have. I got kicked out of the military with an honorable discharge. I did, and friend invited me to spring break. So what do you do when you get divorced and you're depressed? You go to spring break with your buddies because they were still in college. I was still of age, guy. I was still like 20. I was 26 at the time. So I'm not like some old 50-year-old man cruising college chicks down in South Padre, Ireland. But I remember going down there. I remember, and I'm upset. I mean, dude, I'm divorced. I just got booted from the military. I mean, I'm like lowered. I felt like a piece of shit. And come on. And we went out to, it was Louis. We went out to, it was a bar, and it's spring break, back when spring break was cool. You college kids don't know that anymore because you'd rather stay on the campus and protest. You get no idea.
Come on. If you look at Miami during spring break, they're not protesting.
Okay, good. Well, good. I hope it's not. But
it's pretty fucking wild from what we've seen on the news.
Well, we went down. Well, I'm not even going to get into that. I'm going to stay in my story. I'm trying to stay in my lane here. But went to Louis, and I remember I'm dancing, and you're dancing, you're drinking, you're dancing, and you're trying to, what you go down spring break for? College, you're trying to get laid. That's what you're doing. And I remember I started dancing with, I thought she was pretty, but I'm just dancing. We're drinking. They're bringing the shots around. It wasn't Fireball back then. It was called something else. It was some cinnamon. And I remember dancing with her, and she hit the person that was holding the little shots, the little cinnamon shots, went all over me, just, and it burnt my eyes. But I'm trying to play it off because man, this shit hurts, but I can't let this girl see that it hurts because I'm a man. I can't do that. And my shit's all stained. So I took my shirt off, and back in the day, I was buff, guys. I was ripped. So and that was dude right there. She fell in love with me right there.
Nice.
And that's how we ended up. Actually, we did not. She probably hates me talking about this and shit. We did not sleep together at spring break. No, didn't. But we went out together every night after that night for the rest of the 5 days I was at spring break. And I
Which,
still,
by the way, I mean, I'm not married, whatever, but it's probably more meaningful than just like a girl that you hook up with.
Yeah, no, it was well, it's my wife. I mean, we have,
but
kids
that's what I
together.
mean. It
But
probably
that's
wouldn't have been your wife if it was just someone that you hooked up
with. And that's what was, but that what was so cool about it. It was the dumping of the cinnamon schnapps all in my I mean, I'm drenched in sticky red. Think of throwing a bottle of Fireball on you, taking my shirt off. I'm still dancing. I don't know, like, woohoo, yeah, Fireball. You know, I'm drunk. I'm half naked, and it's spring break, man. It's spring. And then we ended up staying in touch together, and it was awesome. I still remember it because I still remember waking up the next day, and I felt like every problem I had, all the bad stuff, it was gone. And I still remember the music video. This was MTV actually played music videos. This is the 90s, guys. And I still remember the Possum, it was called
by the Toadies.
By the Toadies, yeah, Possum King. And so, you know what's fun is that the new movie from it's a Marvel movie, Guardians of the Galaxy. When that movie came on, what's the song that comes on for the trailer? Possum Kingdom comes on. I remember hearing that, and I'm like, holy shit! It just took me back to that night of getting spilled cinnamon schnapps all on my face and my eyes, and running down my pants and burning my nads, and me taking my shirt off. And that's how I met the lady that I'd spend the rest of my life with. And the Toadies, the Possum Kingdom Toadies. It always comes. That song always reminds me. And the next morning, it was like every depressed part of me was gone, and life was starting over. It was awesome. You see me smiling. I mean, it was awesome. So yeah, Robin, there you are. And I do remember picking you up. She ate shit running the 400, and I looked like she was really hurt. And I was on the track team, and I went out, and I was the first one to see it. I was closest. And I went out there and got her off the.
Oh, nice. So it was more than just giving her a ride home, which is what it made.
No, she had the track. I picked her ass up and got her off the track.
Oh, see, I didn't even catch that because now I'm looking at the email, and he's like, and she writes, he literally picked me up. I didn't even.
Oh,
think
yeah.
of that. I was like, oh, he gave her a ride home.
I literally picked her up and got her off the track to the infield because she ate.
That shows that, like, prior to joining the military, you had that protector's mindset, and you know, you're kind of destined to do that. You know what I got to ask real quick, because we got a lot more, but because I had a cool celebrity story and you met a ton of celebrities, who was just the coolest celebrity that you met, if you had to choose one?
The coolest, if he wants to call himself, and he's not a big, but it's Pablo. Pablo has been the coolest guy because he just was a dude. And I've never been starstruck by a celebrity. I never have. Because you do what but I was thinking like the coolest guy, or growing up, Pablo was cool because he just was the nicest guy. We could hang out together. I remember he came to the house and we did those pictures. I may even post on Instagram where we're pretending to be Mexican cartel guys sitting out on our lawn. He's just a cool guy. But growing up, my dad coached at Brigham Young University when they were really good. I think I've told you these stories.
Yeah, you spoke about it.
Yeah, and growing up and having Jim McMahon or Steve Young, come to the house and just, I think that was the coolest because you'd consider them celebrities. Yeah, they're NFL Hall of Famers.
And as a kid, you're more like they're superheroes.
Oh yeah, they're like, but just they were the nicest guys to me. Going out and playing catch, those had more of a lasting impact on me than me meeting somebody that's super famous. I mean, Michael Bay, you consider him super famous, but I'm standing here talking to him on the set going, yeah, that's not right. Those kind of guys, I think I've always just had a relationship where it was more of a working relationship, but growing up, the people that made impressions on me was growing up, those guys, because, they were, even Jim McMahon, even though he was the bad boy of the NFL and still very classy, very respectful to my father, but also as a kid, you could tell they were mentors, man. They were leaders. Steve Young, another one, just great guys. That just, I had a massive impact from them because I just saw them as great leaders and very humble. Even though that wasn't persona for Jim McMahon, Steve Young it was, but Jim McMahon in the NFL he was this bad boy. No, he was actually the nicest. He made me as a kid want to play football and want to go play catch with him, and that was cool. So I would say those two guys growing up. Yeah,
that's cool. All right, this was an interesting one. This is from Joe. I had a Joe Hernandez. I had a quick question. Do you guys have a sponsor or recommendation for someone to get quality MREs? So, I mean, we don't have a sponsor. We did it one time. Dylan gave us a sponsor and we did like one read for them. I don't even remember who it was because it was years ago. So whatever answer you have, it's going to be unbiased because we don't have a sponsor.
Shit, I don't, for quality MREs. Shit, I don't know, bud. I'll be quite honest with you. I don't know if anybody makes if they're actually the actual MREs, you probably don't
until we get a sponsor. When we get a sponsor,
yeah, we get a sponsor. I would love to have one, and maybe
we had one for like one episode. I remember Dylan got us one. Yeah, we're way early on in the show.
Well, they should have stayed with us because right now you'd be getting some props and probably having people buy your MREs, you dumbasses. Once you, but I can't because and I don't know. It's not something I see even regularly in the world I travel in the 2A world, bud. So hey, we'll keep an eye out if we find one. And me and Ian are both the same. We're not going to recommend anything unless we try it, and if it's good, and yeah. If that MRE doesn't stop you up where you don't crap for a week, it's not worth the shit. You got to, you got to get he knows what I'm talking about. Eating MREs, you got to get the real MREs that actually plug you up for a week. Then it's the good stuff. Yeah. So I don't know, but I really don't. Hope if we find one though, love to have a sponsor for one because I miss eating MREs. MREs are good, man. Chili mac is still the bomb. Chili mac with some Tabasco sauce in there. Still the best chili mac, better than any Chef Boyardee you'll ever have. It's good stuff. Great stuff.
All right, this is wait, we just read from Joe Hernandez. This is the same guy. He sent 2 emails. All right, this is a really long email, but I'll read it because it seems like it's an important one. So I'll read the whole thing. I usually don't, but and it had some funny lines in here. So hey guys, had some questions for whenever you guys do more on-air questions. By the way, he's also in Kansas. He's in Garden City, Kansas. First of all, okay, so first of all, thank you for keeping this podcast going. I actually just discovered you guys after Tanto mentioned it at a training event back in June, which, by the way, is the cool thing, man, that people are still discovering the show all the time, and I always keep that in mind.
Joe, I know, Joe. Joe, if it's Joe, I'm thinking of 10th Mountain
Joe Hernandez, Garden City, Kansas.
So. Yeah. I know, Joe. What's up, buddy? Cool. Yeah.
I've been catching up on your old episodes, starting from the first one. It's so crazy to me, by the way, that people do that. That people listen like it's a TV show, like from episode 1. I mean, we're past episode 200. I mean, it's hours upon hours. I can't believe that there are people who dedicate that much time.
I think it's freaking awesome. That's all. Yeah, I appreciate it.
It's a lot of time, though. Yeah. I mean, it would take like the whole year to listen to all these, I would think. So I found that your guys' angelic voices keep me motivated, not only at work, but in life. And it helps me tremendously to repeatedly hear that I can keep going by adapting and overcoming. I was diagnosed with PTS a few years ago, and it's been a long battle between knowing what a pistol barrel tastes like and almost losing my family. Thanks to God, and for reasons that are unknown to me, I haven't lost anything except time trying to fix my shit. Again, thank you both. Sorry about the long email. I found that I have to follow through with everything and say what I have to say, or it will fester within me. So the question I had for Tanto, regarding your grandfather, you mentioned to me, he had a farm in Colorado.
Yeah.
What type of farm was it? Corn, vegetable, that sort of thing. And does your family still own it? Also, do you still have family in Mexico? And are you still connected with or visit them? And then people have said this before, and I didn't even get it at first, and then I realized he wrote, and for Ian, are you still dating Alex Jones? Which I always forget that at the top of the show is Alex going, Ian and I have been dating for a long time. Because someone did say to me once, they were like, are you still dating Alex? And, Alex could be a female. So I'm like, Alex. And they're like, Alex Jones. And yeah, so
that's funny shit.
I love when he asked that. Again, keep up the great work. Ian, you're doing an awesome job progressively making the podcast better. Thank you, man. All right. So the question's for you. Yeah. What type of farm?
Well,
do they still own it? Family in Mexico?
Yeah, my abuelo Joaquin Garcia. Yeah, potatoes and onions, and that's Western Colorado. That's mainly. There was some corn every once in a while. We had it out there, but it just depends. It gets so dry. It's tough. So he did better on potatoes and corn. And no, we don't. Actually, when my grandmother, my abuela Rose Garcia, she passed early. She passed when I was in college, like in the 50s. And then when my grandfather, when she was like 55, something like that, years old, and I was like 19 or 20 at the time. And my grandfather, he kept the farm going, and then he was in a pretty bad truck accident when he was in his 60s. So he probably would have kept working on the farm, but it was a bad truck. He paralyzed, and so he passed away. He paralyzed for about 10 years, and then he passed away. And no, they just, nobody else farmed in our family. Me, I went to the Army, and my mother was a school teacher. And so it just, the farm, they not that they got rid of it. Somebody, the community is so small that somebody that they knew that they were partners with on the farm took it back over. So the house is still out there. But yeah, still Western Colorado that grew up learning how to shoot and just playing out in the farm. A lot of memories out there. Is still longer in our family, sadly, but my family still lives in Grand Junction, Colorado. So I still have my immediate family still out in the Western Slope. So I see them out there. And no, nobody, that was it. Great grandmother, she passed away a long time ago. So I remember I'm 52. I'm on the wrong side of 50. So a lot of those relatives are gone, and everybody from the Garcia family that I knew all migrated up to Western Colorado. So they all live on that Western Slope. So they're all up there. My aunts, uncles. I had one aunt that was in Salt Lake City, but the rest of them are in Colorado, Western Colorado. And then I have an uncle. Love my Uncle Randy. Just wonderful, wonderful man. And another mentor that I looked up to growing up. He lives in Fort Collins, Colorado, and very successful, and runs a horse farm actually up in Colorado. He's retired, so he just has horses on his farm now, but did very well up there. And yeah, buddy, I wish we did still have relatives in the old country in Mexico. My Spanish would sure be a hell of a lot better if we did, but we don't, bud. And yeah, God bless my grandfather and my grandmother. Learned a lot from them, but they're all up in heaven right now.
I don't know where you are in time. We got 6 emails left. What do you think?
We're good. We're good. We're good. Let's rock through.
Cool. All right, I'll keep going. This is another long one. But appreciate the long ones. If you can make them short, we appreciate it. But
no, we're good. We're good. Long and short. Do what you want.
All right. So this is from Randy. Morning. Well, first question for the podcast. We all did certain things to amp us up before a mission or blow off steam after a mission. So the question is, share a time that someone did something completely off the wall that completely broke the tension and lightened the mood for everyone. And 2, what is the one thing that you got sent in a care package that you always look forward to when deployed? And then he's just got this, the rest of this, I guess I'll read it. It says, on a personal note, working from a new Instagram account, which Instagram decided to delete for no reason. I don't know. Got out settled. All right. So this is a lot of family stuff. I'm not going to read all of that, but he did say he's been using the bubs to help his back and neck for stuff that the VA couldn't help him with, and getting back into training. So all that is great. I'm not going to read the rest, but yeah.
Is it too personal or something, or is it just?
No, I mean, we got a ton of emails to get to.
Okay, so Randy, sorry. Write the question again, and maybe we can get.
Well, we got the question there. So yeah, the question is, something that lightened the mood during an op that was off the wall, and then the one thing you got in a care package that you always look forward to.
One thing, that's what I think. There's a misnomer, at least in the group I worked with. We never really had to get amped up. People knew when they were ready to go, when they were even keel. And
you have the videos of you listening to
oh yeah,
Disturbed.
we
and
listen to Disturbed,
that's getting
like that.
amped.
That's good. We'd put music on. Well, we did talk about that with State Department, and yeah, I Slipknot, and
But
okay,
this guy's saying something that was like totally off the wall and different, and it broke the tension.
really just telling jokes. I think if people watch that video, they would see that's pretty much the standard where you're just making like, what's that? I think, back in the day, what's that? Was that big deal? I was like, that's the what's up? Somebody filming something. What's that? Nothing really strange. It was always just listen to Slipknot, listen to Disturbed, listen to Godsmack, listen to something heavy, getting their gear ready to go, making jokes with each other. If somebody's filming, getting in the camera and what's that, doing something like that. Or I remember my buddy Joe Espino and they'd get on the back of our SUVs, or they would hop up and down those things to make them look like lowriders. So they get on the back of them with all that body armor, and they would just make it just was getting ready to go, like a game. I compare it to just like getting ready to go on a football game, but never anything where, yeah. I mean, I'd throw on Ricky Martin every once in a while, just to
Nice.
be different. LMFO, the 13, that's spot on. I'd throw them on just to change up the mood a little bit and start dancing a little bit. So I don't have any video. You got to remember, when I was in, we didn't have these cell phones and people could take videos. We'd have so much more cool shit. Those videos I do,
that's more from contractors.
Yeah. The videos that I have, even when I was a contractor, it was a guy that had a handheld camera, that was how small as we got. So, but yeah, I wish I had something super hilarious, but I don't. Most of it's just the normal crazy. It's normal crazy. It's getting amped up. It's jumping around. It's telling jokes. It's getting on the back end of vehicles and jumping on them to make them look like low riders. It is. And then it's also, once it started though, it's a calm chaos. It really is. It's just relaxed, calm chaos.
And then he asked favorite thing you'd get in a care package.
Oh, favorite thing. I love getting M&Ms, because I love getting chocolate, but we realized going chocolate in care
Melted,
package
yeah.
M&Ms. Yeah. By the time it got to you, it was melted. So M&Ms were, man, I look forward to M&Ms. And also, if we could get them, which we couldn't, sometimes the toothpaste a lot of these places when we first went to, they would run out of shit. We didn't have enough in stock. So getting a tube of toothpaste actually was really cool. So I got the stuff to rot my teeth, and then I got the stuff to clean it. But I loved getting M&Ms when we figured out the chocolate would melt. And man, you should see my disappointment the first time that I was going to get chocolate in a care package. This was in 2004 in Iraq.
I mean, I would think that would melt. Yeah.
Oh no, it melted. Yeah, no, it melted, and then it reconfigures, and it's not as good anymore. It's terrible. Yeah. So, man, I was so disappointed. It was like, serious. I was like, man, I wanted to cry. But then, I just told my wife, just send me M&Ms, and that was awesome. I love.
I mean, I would think that, because I'll have like gummy bears before a workout, which is actually good. You go look it up. Yeah. But I have them in my car, and even just in regular New York summer, those get melted when you leave them in the car, even in the glove compartment. So
the chocolate melts, dude. You can't get it. M&Ms usually will stay. Sometimes they'll melt, or they'll sweat. So
yeah, I'm surprised those didn't melt. Yeah.
No, it just depends how well they were packed and how long they were sitting out in the sun. But when I got them in town, I loved M&Ms. That's why I still eat M&Ms to this day. I get a handful of I love peanut butter M&Ms better now. Handful of peanut butter M&Ms every day after I work out, and I love them. So M&Ms and toothpaste, man.
Nice. All right. This is from Mark Phillips. Thank you for your love of this country and your sacrifices. I've been listening to the podcast for a long time now, and I love how it feels like a group of friends just hanging out, sharing stories, and talking shop. Yeah, I agree. That's what we do. Yeah. I love how sometimes politics do come up, but it is not the main focus of the show or overtakes the conversations. Keep up the good work, guys. Yeah, I agree with that. Just to comment on it, every now and again, something political does come up because it's a part of life, but yeah, I never want the whole show to be politics, because like you can get that so many other places.
Well, yeah, it's clickbait, it's drama. We don't do that. I mean, maybe we talk about some drama because Ian and I have been through some drama every once in a while, but that's not the focus of the show, and it shouldn't be. Yeah, and we're never going to be like that. Correct me if I'm wrong, Ian, but I think our followers probably would go up if we were more controversial,
Yeah,
but we don't, that's
or if we were more political. I mean, but
political.
I
Political
wouldn't
controversial.
enjoy doing the show.
No,
I really
it's,
wouldn't. I mean, there's a reason I no longer work in political talk radio. I like a lot of the guys I was working with, but no joke, and I'll get back to this email. But I swear to you, it was at the height when I left like political talk radio and was just doing SOP rep, which wasn't political, but it was the height of like the Trump campaign 2016. And regardless of like my feelings on the guy, dude, I would go to sleep and I would dream about Donald Trump because all day it was Donald Trump on the TV. We were discussing Donald Trump. And and I'm sure many of you guys feel this way too. I'm like, I should be dreaming about like sex or something, not Donald Trump. So I think that was part of why I was like, I got to tap out of this. Like, I'd like to focus on other things. But anyway,
I'll aim into that. I'll leave that with you. I'm not saying anything else. That's good enough. Let's leave that one there. I thought you were going to say sex with Donald Trump.
No, no. Definitely not. All right. So I have a 2-part question and short comment. Aside from the political talk everyone is having on the subject, what is your thoughts on Biden ordering the selective reserve and other members of the individual ready reserve to active duty? Secondly, I saw the story about Ziad Balam on your Facebook page. Can you tell us more about him and why it is important to bring him to the United States for justice? I fully support bringing him to justice, but there are some that say he should not touch American soil. Although that's not going to happen now from what we've seen. Yeah. Lastly, I got to meet and talk with some of your instructors over the years via email, social media, and sometimes in person. Ben Morgan, Jeremy Mitchell, Pablo Martinez, and Israel Matos, or how do I say Matos, are all solid guys and very down to earth. They have always answered any questions I have with zero ego. I have not gotten to meet or talk with the others yet, but I hope to attend a course next year and meet them. Any plans for training next year? I look forward to your answers and feedback. Thank you and God bless, Mark Phillips. So there's a lot of questions in there. I guess we'll start with the first one. Members of the selected reserve and other members of the individual reserve being moved to active duty.
I'll be honest, bro, I didn't know he did that. What the hell?
I'd heard about that. And that does relate to Ukraine.
Yeah, that's no. Fuck no. When you go to the IRR, you're pretty much done. I was put in the IRR for a year before I got out, before I was honorably discharged. When I got back in, this was when my last honorable discharge, when I actually got out of the service, started contracting. When you go to the IRR, you're done. I mean, it's known that unless there's a war, like a world war, that was how it was explained to me by the person that put me in the IRR. Unless there's a world war, you're not going anywhere. So holy shit, this just shows how much I watch the news, guys, and I read the news. I don't, period. That's a pretty big fucking deal. I don't agree with that at all. No, there's no we're not going to war. We don't need to go to that's
well, we are heading in the direction of going to war.
Yeah, that's not good. Okay, so let me just that's all I can say. That's fucking terrible. So no, don't agree with that at all. And it also, if that just shows our numbers are down in the military. So again, it just shows again how awful this administration is. And I'm not a Trumper. I am not I'm not by any means. I don't like that guy either, but we'll see. This administration has been completely terrible. And here's another reason right there. So that's the first one. No, terrible, awful. What was
second Ziad Balam, more info on him.
I know Sarah's been pushed. It's more for accountability. I'm with you. I think the dude just should be dead. I think any terrorist should just be dead. I didn't like when they brought the other dude over for. I wouldn't comment on it. I didn't want to. I got reprimanded by people on the right, by politicians on the right, when we brought in he was supposed to be the ringleader until we spoke out. Me and Tig spoke out and said that dude's no ringleader. He's like a sergeant. It was the guy we had we put him through the court process here long time ago. I forget his dumbass's name, but Sarah's doing it, and Sarah, she is an agency personnel. She believes in accountability. I know she would really like to see that dude killed too, but she's not going to say that. I know what her heart feels because she was a targeter and she helped to find these guys to kill these guys, but she's not going to come outwardly and say that. I will. Yeah, he needs just to be dead, killed. But it's not going, like Ian said, it's not going to happen now because they let him go. So you read between the lines there, brother. We don't, accountability to me on a terrorist means death. You're dead, not getting put in a prison. I think that actually is that's easy on them, in my opinion, without having our prison in Cuba, without having a Guantanamo Bay anymore. So that's
And
my
then the
opinion.
last part was, it sounds like he wants to take a course next year, and he says any big plans for.
Usually I'll try to schedule them out between 30 to 60 days is all the leeway I can give, because I have to work around my speaking schedule. And I usually don't know if I'm going to have a speaking event until I'm about 30 to 60 days out from whenever I'm going to schedule a course. I mean, Kansas.
Sometimes it'll be like a week before.
It's sometimes, yeah,
It's
and
happened.
sometimes I'll just pop them up like that. That's just how I work.
I mean the engagements though.
Oh, the
Sometimes
speaking engagements, yeah.
They'll be like last minute.
And-
we need someone,
and I'll have to reschedule. I've had to reschedule courses that way. So I usually just keep an eye on the Battleline Tactical website. It's always out there. Sign up for email. So when there's a course, we push it out to you. We do our best. But yeah, I'm going to have several next year, but I won't start scheduling them probably till February or March, because I'm in Kansas. I don't travel for teaching anymore. I have a range here. I want to be home, and it gets, even in the southeast Kansas, it gets pretty cold in the wintertime. So we got one coming up. I got one coming this weekend. I probably will do one with Phil and Photonist Defense at the end of November, if the weather holds, a night vision course. And then by next February, I'll start scheduling out courses for next year.
Cool. All right. This is from Jason. In the current political climate and the way the military is going, what are your feelings on whether or not your kids want to join the military?
Well, my son, just like me, if he wants to join, he can join. He knows my feelings on it. I don't think he's going to. I think he wants to go in law enforcement, but so did I when I was a freshman in college too. So you don't know. I'll cross that.
So did Scotty and Lewis.
So did Scotty and Lewis.
He's not doing
Yeah.
anything even remotely like that now.
That's a cool dude. That was still one of my favorite interviews. Scott's a cool,
fun
dude.
one. Yeah,
he's a cool dude. But brother, I tell you this. My son, if he wants to join, just like my parents, they weren't going to talk me out of it. I'm not going to talk him out of it either. I'm just going to say, if you're going to join, you go into special operations. If you're going to join, be with people that want to be there. That's not just signing up for the college money or the loan repayment program that they have, which is excellent. I actually partook in that. So it's, hey, Joe Biden, there's a political thing. Hey, we don't need another government run loan repayment program. We already have one in the U.S. Army. I took care of that, and I used that, and it actually was excellent. Paid my loans off. But if he wants to, he will. I just will always tell him, and just like I have told him, said, bro, if you want to join, or my daughter, if she wants to, she gets of age, or my other son who's younger, just go to where people want to be there, where you have the best leaders, you have the best equipment. Because then if you do go to combat, don't you want the best team around you? If you're in that high stakes game, which your life is at stake, literally, not very literally. So that's all I would say to anybody who wants to join. Go to special operations community. I'll say Rangers because I'm a Ranger, but I'll also say SEALs, combat controllers, pararescue, ODAs, ODDs, Night Stalkers. Go to the special operations side of the house. Force Recon, Raiders. Because you're going to be
with your daughter, that's not possible.
And that's
unless they change the standards so much by the time your daughter is of age.
Now, if it's my daughter, I'm saying you go be a pilot. No, you go fly Apaches. You go fly.
Speaking of which, I think next month we're going to have Amber Smith on the Apache pilot.
That'd be great. Yeah. And that's what I did tell I said, daughter, I go, if you want to join. And she does.
Beep the name out, Harold.
Oh shit. Beep the name. I said, if you want to go, my daughter, I said, then be a pilot. And that's what I'd want. If she wanted to go, I would try to steer her into that direction of being a pilot, because some of those female pilots are shit hot. And I say that female, I should just say they're pilots. They're shit hot. I'd love to have Amber on. I'd love to hear some of her stories, man.
Yeah, she was when I was booking this month or September, she was down to come on, but I think she actually was speaking engagement. So I think we're going to have her on in October probably. And she's cool. I've interviewed her before.
Love to talk to her about her experience and how she joined, and then maybe I can have something for my daughter if she ever wants to join.
And then she went on to work under General Mattis in the Trump administration, which is interesting as well.
That's true. Yeah, good. I hope we get her on, man. Good story.
Yeah, she sounds like she's down for it. So, all right, next one. We're down to the last 3 emails here. So this is from Cheryl. Good evening. My name is Cheryl A. Austin. I'm a resident of Texas. The Facebook page asked what questions we may have for the podcast. My philosophy has always been the truth wins out, or more poetically, truth is the daughter of time. I'm not trying to put any political spin on my questions, but here goes. Can you see how truths keep coming out on cover-ups and the ones responsible keep denying it? It's just frustrating, but I am never one to take any media report on face value, but research to make my own mind up about issues. So it's a little vague there, but I understand what she's getting at.
Well, is she asking, is it a question or a statement? Cheryl sounds familiar. I think she follows us or follows one of my accounts. It sounds familiar.
I mean, it says she's a Facebook follower. So it says, can
Austin?
you see how truths keep coming out on cover-ups?
Oh, yeah.
And the ones responsible keep denying it?
And that's the test. That's how it will be till the end of time. That's how it was in the beginning of time. That's how it will always be. Those that want to hold on to power are going to deny any truths that come out that may hurt them. I think that's in life. That's anybody in general. When you do something wrong, you're going to rationalize it that it's the right thing to do. Or if it's egregious and you don't want anybody to find out, like, hey, here's an example right here. You cheat on your wife or your husband. Somebody finds out. I guarantee you the majority of people that got caught, unless it's red-handed, aren't going to admit to it right off the bat. But the truth will eventually come out. The only problem with people that are in power is when it does start to come out, and we do have a culpable media. That's why I quit watching it. I don't take any of they say at face value because it's all horseshit. I don't. They will continue to help out whoever they're supporting, whatever side is. So and nobody's held accountable because nobody has ever been held accountable for their actions. So it's not going to start now until somebody is. And as a politician, yeah, sure.
Although people, I don't necessarily this, and this would be a whole nother rabbit hole to get under, but someone on the left listening might say Trump is being held accountable right now. I mean, he's the first president to have a mugshot.
But for what? I guess I don't really. I'm not following.
Well, they believe this is why
again.
That's to say
they
would say that he's trying to overturn election results, which I don't want to get into this whole because that would be totally getting political. But I'm just saying, when you said no one's been held accountable, I will say personally, right? Whenever people on the left would say to me, Trump is going to get a mugshot, he's going to jail, I would say it's never going to happen. And I will admit, I was pretty shocked to see a Donald Trump mugshot. I was shocked.
I don't. That's with him. I guess I haven't followed it enough with him. I was like, for what? What did he do that was any worse than anybody else? I guess so. He did. We're getting political. Help me out here, brother, because I want to.
No, I'm just saying when you said no one will ever be held accountable, people just like people were saying lock her up for Hillary Clinton, right? Nothing ever happened. People on the left were saying lock him up. And now it's actually happening. So
and now, for something that did he destroy classified information or use BleachBit to destroy emails that were subpoenaed by Congress? Or he didn't do any of that, did he? Well, I know
you're asking a rhetorical question, but I'm just saying I think people on the left would say, okay, finally the president is being held accountable. So it depends where you're coming from politically, because if there was a mugshot of Hillary Clinton, we would say, wow, she's being held accountable. And people on the left would say she shouldn't be being put in jail. That's the only point that I'm making. I will say I was shocked, and I'm not saying I agree with it. I was just personally shocked when I saw the mugshot. I think the mugshot is going to help him get elected, quite frankly. But I was still surprised by it.
Wow. Yeah, sure. I hate to tell you this, and just from what Ian's telling me, what new things I'm finding, this is why it's nice to live in my little closet here, where I don't have to. I know when I say I don't watch.
Well, that Trump had a mugshot. I'm sure you knew that.
I saw it on social media, but I didn't know that. I didn't know that's what it was for. I didn't give. I told you I don't follow Trump. I don't care. But when you told me, that's what it was like. That's what's shocking to me. Like, for that, what the fuck? But we're never until a politician gets held accountable for something that is actually egregious and is thrown in prison. Or I said this to Trey Gowdy when I was doing my testimony. I'll be honest, I did. We sat down when we did our Benghazi Select Committee hearings. I said this. I said, until you throw one of these people in prison for what happened to us, for leaking information, for whatever giving up our positions, for leaving us to die, I said, you're going to see nothing ever held accountable in the future. I said that after during a closed door hearing after we got done, where I was sicker than a dog shit, and it was like the third time I sat in front of all these people answering questions about Benghazi. I said, you have to set an example off one of these, right? If you don't, you're gonna have problems forever. Here we are. So I'm gonna tell you right now, Cheryl, here we are, and it's never gonna end until go ahead, Ian.
Oh no, all I was gonna say is here's the interesting thing. During Trump's rallies, right, everybody was saying lock her up in regards to Hillary. And I think when Trump became president, he was just, I think even maybe the influence of people would be like, you can't do that, right? They can't allow. And then they're actually doing it to him, though. I mean, they actually do have the mugshot. And so, I mean, if this sets the precedent, right, he could have set that precedent. He could have done what is being done to him right now, and he chose not to. And it's the same thing at the rallies, right? People saying fire Fauci. He never did that. So,
we say it on our show all the time. Karma's a motherfucker. We say it on the show all the time. Be careful what you say. Be careful what you do, because payback's a bitch, and the stripper name is Karma. I would have loved to have seen Hillary get locked up. She didn't. She's not going to, guys. It's not going to happen. She'll get her judgment.
What if Trump comes to power and he decides to do the same thing to the people that did? You just never know. This, like I said, this sets a new precedent. It does set a new precedent. This is the first president with a mugshot. So
if it's legitimate and it's not just retaliation, it's something that actually should be thrown in prison for. Yeah, but if it's not, and Trump does it, will it make me feel good? No, I'm not going to feel good because I don't want to.
I'm just saying this sets a new precedent. Is all I'm saying.
Do you think
we're living during very interesting times? It's funny, even though I don't agree with him politically on a lot of stuff. When Brad Thor said that whole thing about the Chinese proverb, of, "May you live during interesting times." Like, yeah, we're living during very interesting times. We are.
You peaked our. I think we went down a rabbit hole, but that's good. A good discussion though, but I don't think anything should ever be done due to retaliation. If somebody committed a crime and it's a crime that you go to prison for, you should go to prison for that crime, regardless of who you are, what standing you are, what position you have in office, or it doesn't matter to me. But it's never going to happen. And I hope I'm wrong. I really do hope I'm wrong. But I
mean, like I said, and what started this whole conversation, once again, I could be proven wrong in that when liberals said to me, "You're going to see a Trump mugshot," and all this, I said that you were living in a alternate universe. And I was proven wrong. I never thought I would see it, and we have seen it.
But you think is it? I mean, to me, I'm like, holy, it looks like he's constipated to me. A lot of people are saying that. It looks like he's got run. I don't see it, but do you think it's going to get? You said it's going to get him elected. Is it having that kind of effect?
I definitely think it will. I mean, right now he's polling way above anyone else. I think Vivek Ramaswamy might be the VP. But anyway, keep going here.
Yeah.
This is from Garnet Brady. My name is Garnet Brady. I'm an Indigenous Australian from a town called Port Augusta. And this is actually a deep one. Now that I'm looking at it, I did read this one really quickly. I just want to start off with thanking you for your service, your sacrifices, and knowledge and wisdom that you were sharing with us today. My question to you is, what are some strategies to use when dealing with trauma? Just recently, I witnessed a man being run over by a bus. I attempted first aid on him, but unfortunately he died on the scene. I've worked in prisons for over 10 years and I've seen all kinds of violence, but never have I watched someone die. I feel I may have PTSD from this incident. Do you have any advice for someone going through trauma?
But I don't label yourself with that yet, bud. Once you do that, you put yourself in a hole. You're going to stigmatize yourself. Don't. You did what you could. You tried. That's honorable in itself. You can't save everybody. It's not possible. And there are times where it's just not going to happen. Don't beat yourself up. Be proud of yourself. You ran towards that emergency. You ran towards that person that was in need. That. You don't need to break your arm patting yourself on the back, but you should feel good about yourself. And don't try to not see what you saw. You can't unsee things you saw. It's impossible. That's where a lot of us go down those holes, and those demons kick our ass and we end up killing ourselves. Is that we try to unsee it, and it's not possible. When you see something traumatic, you're going to remember it. It's burned, it's seared into your brain. And look for the things that you did right. And to me, it sounds like you did everything right you could. That's awesome. And now think, okay, if somebody's thinking about running away from danger, you have a story that you ran towards danger, and that is commendable. No, brother, you don't, to me, the only way you're going to get post-traumatic stress is if you want to get post-traumatic stress. And I tell that to individuals all the time. We need a support network, but when it comes right down to it, it's you yourself that's to pull yourself up by your bootstraps and say, okay, I'm going to move on with my life. And I'm going to learn from what I did. I'm going to be proud of what I did. Damn it, I couldn't have saved him. Man, do you not think I would have liked to have left 30 minutes earlier and we could have saved the ambassador? I know we could have. I know we could have. Because I've left 30 minutes earlier on other places in Kabul and Kandahar and Baghdad where we got there early enough that we did save people. So I know we could have. We didn't. We did our best. We did everything we could to get there. We tried. And that is the first step right there. You tried. And that's amazing because most people don't even try. They'll run away or they'll look the other way. Or they'll just call 911 and watch and go with hands over their mouths. You did.
Yeah, or even worse, film it. The people
or film it. Yeah. Oh man,
Ian,
you are spot on there. So, buddy, you did awesome, and be proud of yourself. And when that pictures comes that you saw, you're going to see it. Just
do you think if he's having like recurring nightmares or something, you think therapy and things?
Yeah,
like that
it does. Therapy definitely does. And I said, I will say therapy helps, but to a point to where it becomes a crutch. There's a time where you got to stop away from therapy, because then it will become something it's like taking pain medication and you keep taking it and then eventually it becomes addictive. Therapy is the same way. It does. But also listen to your therapist. When your therapist
I just mean if this guy hasn't done anything yet, I'm just thinking.
Go talk to somebody. I did. And then I got to a point where I don't need to go talk to a therapist anymore. I need to do it on my own. So it's like jump starting a car. Your car's dead right now. Let's get that jump start. Let's put those cables on that battery right now. Let's get that car started. Okay, let's follow that. The therapist is the car that's jump started you. You're the car that was just dead. All right, now you're driving down the road, and eventually you got to tell that car behind you, hey, I'm good to go. I can go out on my own. But eventually you might need that jump start, which is that therapy sessions or
yeah. Well, I just mean especially if he just, he just says just recently I witnessed this. So
I agree.
He probably hasn't had a lot of time to process this whole thing.
And sometimes talking to an outsider, somebody that's not close to you, is better, because you're not worried what they're going to think about you, because they're not going to see you every day except in therapy. And that was easier for me. Now I have a support network with my wife where I don't mind talking to her about things that are bothering me. But there were some initial times, especially when we were divorced and when I was going through that really, really rough patch, that I would rather had talked to a therapist, somebody who didn't have a relationship with me or didn't know me outside from being my doctor. And that helped a bunch. So yeah, if you're having those nightmares and you just feeling depressed or down, go talk it out with somebody, and go until they say, hey, you're good. But when they say you're good, bud. You're good. You may feel a little weak and it may be a little scary, but you need to get out on your own and
if they do that, which I was surprised when it happened to me, because I was like, wow, this guy's quality, because he doesn't need me to be a customer for life, But awesome. All right, this is the very last one, and it's very quick. Jeez. And then we'll call it a show.
Okay, yeah.
This is very quick. You're gonna like this one too. From Jeffrey Bean: why did God create the Rangers? That's the question.
Why did God? Because the Marines and the SEALs and Special Forces weren't cutting it, man. No, I don't know, man. He needed the best of the best. So when we could get trained up down here, when we go up to heaven, he's got his own army up there in heaven full of Rangers. So protecting him and taking care of business. I'm going to say an arrogant answer with that. That's my opinion, man. Rangers 100% and then some. That's why God created the Rangers. He needed something down here to kick ass, and he needed somebody down here that all those Marines and SEALs and Special Forces guys could look up to. That's it. No, I love all you guys. You guys know that, and you guys can give me shit about that later. But great question, man. Thanks for that question. It kind of made me laugh and chuckle, and I'm sure we'll get some clickbait out of that too, with my answer.
All right. Well, thanks, guys. Appreciate it. If you have any other, questions in the future, we'll do one of these battlelinepodcast@gmail.com, battlelinepodcast@gmail.com. Leave your reviews on Apple Podcasts, any comments on YouTube, any of that stuff. Share it out, whatever social media you're on, X, especially Facebook, all that stuff helps us out. Yeah, and that's it. We'll see you guys next week.
Peace, guys.
That's all for this episode of Battleline Podcast. But we're always posting new content on social media. Follow us on Instagram at Battleline Podcast and on Twitter at Battleline Pod. That's an order. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss any new episodes up every Tuesday. Leave us a review on Apple Podcasts or your podcast platform of choice. Believe in yourself. Face all challenges head on. And as always, never quit.